Welcome back to Well That Didn't Work's Call of Cthulhu campaign.
Before we get going, I just wanted to talk about the dice tower.
That's right, we do have a
dice tower. We've got a giveaway going on right now. We're actually giving it away during episode 4 of Call of Cthulhu, so it'll be our first stream in June. It's going to be the third Tuesday in June, same time as right now, 7 p.m. Central Time. And we're giving away a handmade dice tower that I swear rolls all 20s. I'm pretty darn sure.
Unless you're Rick or Mike.
Unless you're Rick or Mike. If your name is Rick and Mike, it's going to roll normal for you. But for the rest of us, it's all 20. So we're going to sign the bottom of this one. It's like number 1 in the manufacturer's queue. Mike made it. It rolls really great. It really actually does. Like, no joke, no lie. It's really well made. It's lightweight. It's all wood. It's painted. It really looks really fantastic. If you want to see some of that, is there a video of that on YouTube yet?
There is a video of that on YouTube. The entire construction of that specific dice roller is on YouTube.
Awesome. Yeah, so we teach how to build it, and we're also giving away 2 of them?
Well, we have 2 of them. One is complete. The second one is still getting some paint job work done to it. But after that, it'll be
well, it should be ready by June.
Oh, well, that depends on how much you keep piling on my plate here, Percy.
That's true. So basically, the way you can enter to win one of these 2 dice towers is by subscribing via Patreon. Any level of donation gets you an entry for each $1 that you donate between now and the giveaway. So if you come in under the $2 mark right now, you'll get March, April, May, June. That's 8 entries into winning this dice tower. If you come in under the $15 mark, not only do you get a chance to play a game with us over Skype when our one-shots come up, you also will get 60 entries to win the dice tower. So go on over to Patreon, patreon.com/notworkingcrew to enter in on that. And it's not just the dice tower. That works for all of our future giveaways as well. Every Patreon subscriber will get a chance to win all of our future giveaways. So head on over. We would love to have you if you like the things you're hearing, either on the podcast, YouTube, or live on Twitch. We would love to see you over there. And now, let's start Call of Cthulhu.
Oh, now we get to start Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah, we got.
Thank you, Percy.
We got to advertise first.
Well, we're advertising for ourselves. At least we're not advertising for somebody else. Last time on Call of Cthulhu: Trail of Jade Rabbit, our investigators came across a few additional leads. Those leads led them to have a discussion with a Mr. James Duval, who is Sean's, the private investigator who died at the beginning in the opening scene. His partner. He's given him a little bit more information about who he was working for, what he was after, and where he could find Mr. Dupree. And our investigators also found some matching handwriting and symbols that came from Sean's diary or his journal. And with that, we're ready to join. We're ready to jump back into this. What are you doing, Percy? Why are you rolling dice? I didn't give you a skill check.
My dice are everywhere, Mike. My dice are everywhere.
What could you do to help that? What do you need?
What can we do to make my dice not be everywhere? Kevin's dying.
Never roll them again?
Mike, if only I had something like a tower, like a box that I could drop the dice into, and they're all right there where they're supposed to be every single time, always rolling 20s.
But you don't want one of those cheap ones.
But you don't. You can't use a cheap one.
I think you're in luck because I built one.
You built one?
Yes, I did.
Dude, tell me about where could I learn to build one of those?
Well, if you'd like to learn to build one of those, by all means, run over to the Well That Didn't Work crew member YouTube page. There's going to be a little DIY section in there that has a couple of different builds. Not a DUI, although I need a DUI section.
No, I ain't got no DUIs, okay?
With this guy playing. Anyway, but yes, there is a little section over there that does have DIY projects that we'll be working our way through. And one of them is the Dice Tower. And we decided to have that be our first giveaway for the channel.
Well, so you're telling me I can get one of those?
You can get one.
Well, you can't.
I can't. Why can't I? Oh, You know what? You're right. That's because I have to sign the bottom of it
Oh,
with all of you guys.
we're gonna sign the bottom.
Ooh, I get to sign it. Yes.
Because we're giving it away for free. Yeah.
You know what we should give some dice.
We're giving
too,
it away to one of our supporters.
with that.
We are. We're giving it away to one of our supporters. And Rick, I like that idea. I think Rick just volunteered to buy somebody dice too.
I am. Just tell me what color, whoever you win. You
Yeah.
know, whoever wins, what
Awesome.
color dice you want.
Perfect. Well, that's
Just tell me what color of whoever wins.
what color
That
dice?
is not our
dice.
podcast,
What
sir.
color dice?
What color dice?
So we're giving away this dice tower and now a free set of dice to one, maybe two people. We do have 2 of these dice towers. It just kind of depends on how many entries we wind up getting. Depends on how many things we give away at one time. But during our first stream in June, which is going to be Call of Cthulhu, so it's the 3rd Tuesday in June at 7 p.m. Central Time, we're giving away 1 or more of these dice towers and dice sets to one of our awesome Patreon subscribers.
All right, one thing though, you did mention that the dice, it only rolls 20s, so
That's been my experience.
your dice set is only going to be 20s. So that
got
you're
20s
only
on every
20-sided die.
D4, 20, 20, 20.
Now your DM might have a problem with that, but just tell him, hey, it's okay. Well, that didn't work. Said it was fine.
That's absolutely.
There's a little whiteout on those dice. It's okay. Trust me. It'll be all right.
So yeah, you can win one of those in June by signing up through Patreon right now. If you sign up now in March, you're gonna get 1 entry for every $1 you donate to our program for each month that you're donating leading up to the giveaway. So if you start now in March, that's 4 months of donations. So if you're at the $2 mark, you're gonna get 8 entries into the giveaway. If you're at the $15 mark, not only do you get all the really cool stuff that $15 donors get, you also are going to get 60 entries into the giveaway. So head on over to Patreon right now. And the giveaways don't stop with the dice towers. We build all kinds of things like DM screens as we continue to grow.
I was wondering that myself.
Listen, guys, we all do all of the things.
That's right.
Mike does a lot of our DIY stuff, and we are so grateful for him doing that. And you guys donating helps us to build more things for your gaming tables, and
Like a new gaming table for us too.
yeah, like a new gaming table for us, which Mike also built ours.
And if you go back to one of our latest conversations, hey, if somebody really is feeling froggy and does that $2,000 donation, which is not on our Patreon, by the way, I wasn't joking. I'll build him a table.
Yeah, for sure. So head on over to
I will
Patreon.
help you, sir.
Patreon, yeah. If somebody donates $2,000, I think we'll all help you.
At least I'm not the only one with sweat equity, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Head on over to patreon.com/notworkingcrew and check out all of our incredible subscriber options. Even just $2 a month where you're just like, dude, I love your content. I want to support you guys. It's the cost of like 2 McDonald's coffees a month. And so that's really easy to jump in on. Plus you get to be a part of these giveaways. If you do $5 a month, you get bonus content. Each month we put new stuff out that's not anywhere else. So things like our candid conversations about games that are coming up. I've got this month, I'm going to post the subclass for bards called the College of Prophecy that we created during the Brew Crew D&D campaign. So all kinds of stuff goes up there in the bonus content. It's not always audio or video. Sometimes it's documents, sometimes it's PDFs. Sometimes it's homebrew rule creations that we work through. So head on over to Patreon, check out some of the things that we've got available. And without further ado, let's jump back into...
But Percy, wait, there's more.
Oh, there's more?
There's more.
What could I have missed? I talked a long time.
I don't know because I always just wanted to say, but wait, there's more.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
No, we will, with this dice tower, every one of our members will be signing the bottom of this, and it will be labeled as the first ever giveaway for this channel.
Yes.
So as the channel grows, you would be the proud owner of the very first item that we have given back to our supporting community.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important to note every donation that's made through our Patreon, a percentage of that goes directly toward a charity each year. This year, the charity we're supporting is called NAMI. Remind me of the acronym again, Mike. I always forget it.
it's
I really should learn this.
Yeah, I know, and I always struggle with it because it seems like it should be very easy and very simple, but it's the North American Mental Illness Association.
Yeah, so basically we got together and we decided we wanted to support awareness for mental illnesses across the board, and NAMI is just they've got like 100% transparency rating. They're a great organization. We're excited to be able to donate toward them from our organization as we continue to grow. So if you're donating to us, not only are you producing great content, but you're helping to raise awareness and help for people who are in need that utilize that organization to help themselves. So,
all right, and now we're ready to jump back into
We'll
Call
go
of
back
Cthulhu.
into Call of Cthulhu. Thanks for listening to our PSA.
Our BSA.
Nice.
That's Boy Scouts of America.
What are you talking about?
Yes, Rick, that's what it is.
Now it's Scouts of America BSA, right? I don't know.
It's
Let's not have that
Scouts,
conversation.
yes.
All right.
As a Scoutmaster, we're in the middle of that.
So at this point, Doug Hauser has made it over to join the rest of our investigative team over at the offices of James Duvall. And the camera pans in this smoke-filled office, still smelling now like 3 almost 4-day-old laundry, with a bunch of guys sitting in here just drinking whiskey and smoking cigars. And that bottle is now about half empty.
Well, James, thank you for talking with us. Truly, I am sorry for the loss of your partner, and if there's anything I can do, even perhaps send over a crew to come and clean this place while you recover, please don't hesitate to ask, and I'd be happy to do that for you. Would you just do us one favor, and and I shove the bottle over to him. This is yours to keep. If you hear from Mr. Dupree at all, if he comes inquiring about his job or whatever, would you point him our direction? Here's my card, and he can call me directly.
I don't have a problem giving you a call, but Mr. Dupree never even talked to me. He's kind of a recluse. He didn't trust a whole lot of people.
Yes, I understand.
So how did your partner get hooked up with him?
You know, that's a good story, and I think that's going to have to come over another bottle later on.
Oh, well, okay.
Well, we look forward to that.
Do you mind if I'd like to roll a persuade to get him, see if he'll let us take the notes of all the inscriptions?
Sure.
And, you know, if he'll forward any information to us that he... 20, which I made. I made my persuasion check.
All right. And he gladly looks back at you and says, you know, help yourself. There's not a whole lot. I know he didn't have any family. That was pretty much about it. I convinced him to come into business with me. But I don't have any need for those notes. It's not doing me any good on the jobs that I'm on.
Well, we appreciate it. You know, and again, I'm really sorry. And if we can, you know, maybe we can help find out who did this. So, you know, I hate this kind of stuff. You know, when someone just makes a hit. You know, if you're gonna do a hit, you need to look the guy in the eye. This kind of stuff is just not good.
All right, Tony, I think now's a good time for you to stop talking. I pull out the keys from my pocket. Here, I'm tired of driving.
Your car don't have keys.
We discussed it.
He's got one of them highfalutin, high-fangled ones.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. No, I like to drive.
I guess
it's a
I
new
do
thing.
have one more
Okay,
question for
so
you,
I'm gonna
James. Why were you expecting the chief of all people to show up to?
Wasn't that the first question you asked?
Yes, but it completely got like ignored, or
Okay,
I don't know if
gotcha.
he purposely ignored it or not. I just with the scene, I'm just gonna
Give me a fast talk.
And now he's a little more lubricated.
You know what? Good point.
5%.
Good point. Go ahead and take advantage on that.
So
Roll
how
an
do-
additional D10 as part of your, D100 side. Take the better of the two numbers. Nope.
No, it's
can I-
5%. Yeah, no.
He kind of looks back at you and says, well, never know what the police force around here. There's a reason why I got out. Went into business for myself.
You think they're taking some stuff on the side?
You ain't hearing nothing from me.
No, of course. I wouldn't say it.
It's a question and a story for another time.
All I'm going to say is you got an Italian with the name of Peterson. And you really think everything's kosher?
Well, I try not to really judge people by names or nationalities, but
And he kicks back a big old drink.
but I do hate to rush the end of this conversation. But boys,
yes.
we do have an appointment.
Okay.
Good luck, gentlemen.
I'll go warm up the car.
Well, I think we're all going.
So I'm gonna drive. Does that mean I get to check driving?
You have been drinking.
Hey, no, I drive better when I've been drinking.
I'm not going to hurt or injure you guys just yet, so we'll allow this to. You're a skilled driver. You don't need to make a mundane check.
Oh, okay.
Good. I thought I was going to have
I
to
just,
drive in my
I just
driving
wanted
skills
to
lower.
make the check
That's why I handed him the keys.
because then
All
I
right.
get to check my
all
box.
right, so
Where would the team be headed at this point?
I would have gotten the before I went, because it was an hour later that I went to pick up those addresses. I would have got the paper from the archaeologist by that time, hopefully, and we would just be on our way to see Dr. Sonati.
All right. Will you roll me a spot hidden, please?
Boom, baby, 29
Out of what?
out of 66. So it's a hard success, not an expert success.
You kind of notice that out of all the names that are on there, there's a small select few that are standing out.
Okay.
And it's not so much the name itself
Aren't they
as
all
it is.
Paul Dillon?
It's not so much the name itself as it is the
Address.
Okay.
areas and the area, the sections of the city that they would be in.
Okay. Are there any close to where Charles Dillon or Charles Dupree would be?
There are not.
Okay.
But there are about 3 or 4 that are in, I guess you want to call it more the swankier part of town. So they're a little bit more on the high society side versus just your average Joes.
So my people.
Pretty much.
Well, that's a little rude.
What are you trying to say?
Listen, I've got a credit rating of 80 out of 100.
What? My credit rating is not quite there, okay?
It's not anything against you guys. It's just, some people don't like to rub elbows with
Yeah,
them.
he's like this snotty guy we're fixing to go see.
All right. So the camera pans out and it kind of comes back in, and we've now pulled up to the University of St. Louis.
Mhm.
Outside the university, it's still at this point, even though it's right there at the end of the 30s and getting into the early 40s. The university is still just over 120 years old, so these buildings are still relatively old at this point. But they're in surprisingly good repair considering the downturn that the country just went through. It's almost as if somebody had taken a church and a castle and thrown in an English Tudor-style house and wrapped them all together. The campus, its dormitories, they're kind of spread around, but they're not. This is not like a university you would see today. At this point in time, this would be almost like a central square of a city. It's very small, it's very compact. So the different departments are almost on top of each other at different floors. Students can be seen running around the courtyard at this point, and we are now into the dark. The street lamps are on, so there's not a whole lot of light cascading around, but the courtyard is partially lit, and you can see some of the young students, the men and the women, just walking up and down the courtyard. What appears to be their version of a date back in the 30s. Lots of Letterman sweaters running around at this point. You're not seeing any of the professors. All you're seeing is a lot of students at this point. What would you like to do?
Well, we pull up in the roaring engine of my rolls. painted
Are you
jet
cruising
black.
the college chicks?
No, we just park and it's real cool
Well,
looking.
and
and
what
very-
if we are?
It's a
Is
very-
Tony cruising the
What
party
if we
the
are?
college chicks?
It's a very noir
I got a little bit of
style
whiskey.
scene.
I'm pretty sure Tony is.
You know, I'm a fast talker.
So, because I know Dr. Sonati,
Oh, and I'm a handsome devil too.
I'm not, so I'm gonna get out of your way. So, because I know Mr. Sonati, I will just I'll have him park, and I'll take the page, and will either you be accompanying me,
Yeah, I'll go.
Tony?
Yeah, sure. What the heck?
So at this point, I'll allow a, and again, it's kind of a stretch here, but a navigate or a spot hidden from everyone.
I'm for sure spotting hidden, and I'm gonna push it.
I'm looking at the girls.
Okay.
Am I trying to spot hidden?
What's the consequence if I fail?
Your consequence is that one of the lettermen thinks you're checking out his girl.
Oh, great!
Yes,
I
right on.
I exceptionally pass.
Oh, let him.
Okay.
Okay, you can check it out.
All right. And
I was successful, so I'm spotting it without him noticing.
and how did you make out on this, Kevin?
Is that the hidden thing you were looking for?
Just right on the button, so I succeeded.
Okay. All right. So with everyone having successfully spotted, what you're going to see is back in the back corner, almost just at the edge of the courtyard, you can see a gentleman probably in his late 30s that you recognize as Mr. Sonati, leaving out of the archaeology building, closing the door and locking it behind him.
We see this while we're still in the car.
You see this while you're still in the car.
Okay, is there a street next to where he's walking?
Not from where you can see. He hasn't moved from the front door yet. He's at the point of locking up the building.
How far away is
catch
he?
up to him before he heads to us.
He's just across the quad.
You know, you want me to just tail him, or do we want to stop him?
I think we should just address him here. I mean, we can yell it across the quad.
Let me. I'll go talk to him. I'll go get his
We should
attention.
we
or
should catch him while he's still here, not on his way home. It looks a little weird to tail him.
well, I'm thinking of. Yeah,
I think.
but if he's a professor, he probably lives here on campus.
Now he's
I
beginning
think
to turn and walk.
is there any insight that I could roll? Basically, I want to make the assertion that maybe we're not the only people that might want to talk to him. So let's tail him for a minute and see if anything else happens. If he gets home, we just go knock on his door.
Yeah, but
It's totally normal in the 30s. We don't have text
but the
messages.
professors tended to live on campus.
Okay, well then we still go knock
Right.
on his door if nothing happens. We still just kind of drive.
I'm thinking I
watching
tail him
him.
on foot, and y'all drive.
I think if anybody tails him on foot, it should be the investigator.
I've got a pretty good stealth. I mean, I'm good at this.
He's better than me.
You guys are
Okay.
metagaming again.
We
You're
are.
right. No, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm thinking. Let me tail this guy. I'd call you on my cell phone if
By
one
all
of these
means.
days someone's going to invent one of those things.
And at this point, the
I get out of the
professor
car.
is turned and he started to walk off, and he's starting to circle around the back corner of the building as if he's walking back
Yeah.
Okay,
towards the edge
y'all
of the
aren't gonna-
As
university.
he
We're
gets
not
out,
gonna
I'm
trust
gonna
him.
slide over. As he gets out, I'm gonna slide over and
Yeah.
kind of drive in that direction,
and I'm
trying to keep an eye on him.
I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit and try
So,
to do it nonchalantly,
with
moving
the-
stealthily.
With the exceptional spot hidden, would I have seen anything extra? I rolled an 11. My exceptional roll is a 13.
There wasn't any opportunity for anything
Okay.
extra to
Okay,
see.
I just wanted to make
Some
sure.
side boob? I don't know.
Ooh!
Just if anyone else was watching him.
Okay.
It was kind of
I had an exceptional stealth.
You had an exceptional stealth. I might as well not even roll this. All right. So, what I was doing there is our first true challenge check, where what happens on a challenge check between an NPC and a PC is that you go based upon the success. Is it a normal or hard or an exceptional? And if your success beats the other individual's success, then you win the challenge. It's not a push. So in this case, you did. He has no idea that you are following behind him.
Cool. He's probably distracted by whatever he's thinking about.
All right.
Okay. So I'm going to follow him.
You're going to follow him?
Yeah,
All
I mean, I pull the car kind of around the other side of the buildings, trying to keep an eye on him as much as I can.
All right. Now from...
So I'm trying to stay in front of him while Tony's behind.
Okay. But you're just cruising and kind of slowly rolling, right? Or are you kind of...
In your nondescript roles.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, no, I look intimidating as all heck.
So you're saying we should make cat calls?
Hey, girls.
So if you're trying to avoid him seeing you, then you would need to make a stealth check, and I think we would go with some serious disadvantage on this.
I'm not really necessarily trying to avoid him seeing me. I'm trying to stay far enough back to
Well, you do
where
want to talk to him.
I do want to talk to him. I am trying to... It's less about him seeing me and me seeing if anything else is going on.
Okay. Then in that case, do a spot hidden.
Yeah,
for me.
I'm wanting to kind of survey his situation before I try to approach.
Okay, fair enough.
Well,
'Cause
I'll
I don't
since
think-
I'm in the car with them, I'll look
Yeah.
around too.
I don't think he's any threat. He's just a professor. He probably doesn't even know anybody's trying to get a translation.
Feel free to
done.
roll that spot hidden.
Oh no.
I got a 39 over 66.
Okay.
All right, so you got a hard success, right?
No,
Or just not quite?
not quite.
All right.
33 would have been
Nothing. I failed.
All right.
I didn't see the Chocho.
So you're kind of having troubles in the dark here, trying to pick him out where he's walking.
Now, would it help me to use luck to get the hard success? Is that gonna?
I don't think it would really help you too much there.
Okay, good.
But what you are noticing is that intermittently a few students appear to be walking up to him that are holding midterm papers or something like that, and they're all kind of pointing at the top of the paper, and they all look a little frustrated, and he's kind of brushing them off as they go.
Okay.
Tony, you're kind of hearing him say, "Look, it's after hours. I don't have time for this. It's just come back to the office hours in the morning."
Okay.
Okay.
And unless anybody does anything, he's just going to proceed to walk a couple blocks down the street until he eventually gets to his apartment.
Yeah. Well, once he gets to the apartment, I'm gonna park the car, get out, and walk up and knock on the door.
Okay. So I'm assuming you've kind of has everybody joined?
Yeah.
With Doug here. All right.
Yeah, and I'm looking around the whole time. Do I see anybody that appears to be watching him?
You can do a spot hidden for me.
Yeah, I was successful.
I got a 26, a hard success.
All right. Neither of you notice anybody that is tailing him.
Okay.
You see random people on the street
Well, he
here
would
and
see me
there
tailing him.
that are looking and you know as somebody walks by, it's just casual greet, casual conversation, but not anybody that appears to be following him.
Okay.
Now, I noticed him brushing everybody off. Did it appear that he was brusquely, like, he had other things on his mind and he deliberately didn't want to talk to him, or did it appear that it was just a normal, hey, it's after hours? Could I tell whether he was agitated
He
at
seemed
all?
a little agitated.
Okay.
But you don't know whether that's because he's being basically accosted by multiple students at the end of a long day.
But was it, I would have noticed if it started from the first student and continued through all of them? Or
It was every one of them.
every one of them. Okay.
Every one of them. All right. So as you knock on the door, you hear, "Oh, for the love of Pete, I just got home," from the other side of the door. As he opens the door, "Yes?"
I hold out my hand as if to shake his hand. Dr. Sonati, Dr. Hauser, we met, probably a few months back at one of those fancy parties with the mayor.
"Oh, one of the charity ones for the university. Yes, I
Exactly.
recall. What can I do for you? Why did you come to my home?"
Well, I figured you wouldn't want to be bothered at school, and I didn't think they would let you drink this 20-year-old scotch.
And I'm the rum runner?
So I'm going to throw you a curve.
Okay,
He
great.
doesn't drink.
He
He's
is of
Middle
Middle
Eastern.
Eastern descent.
He's
Sure.
out.
He does not consume alcohol. I would like for you to roll a charm check at disadvantage. Tony likes you. Because you keep pulling scotch bottles out of everywhere. What did we do? You're laughing.
I really want to push it. I got either a 7 or a 97. I really want to push it.
You can push it this time without disadvantage.
Okay.
Your risk is he's going to slam the door in your face.
Yeah, baby, I got a 4.
Percy, we got to do something about your dice. This is just not right. I know, I see it.
We'll get him one of your dice towers, and then he'll roll 20s.
He already is. He doesn't need my dice tower. Okay.
That's an exceptional check.
Yes, it is.
So I see the look on his eyes, and I say, "So sorry. I think you misunderstand me. This is for you to be able to give to as a gift to the dean. I know you've got a 10-year conversation coming up soon."
I appreciate it.
Yeah, but still, he probably wouldn't.
Out of character. Well played, sir.
Yeah,
Well
thank
played.
you. Thank you.
Inspiration for you. Gain 2 luck.
Awesome.
Lose 9 credit rating. No.
Because you keep just pulling this scotch out of your ass.
20-year-old scotch does not fall into your $50 a day thing. All right.
No, but it does fall under my $40,000 of just liquid assets.
Apparently, they're liquid assets.
Yeah.
Listen, I've got it written on my page. I've got royalties in alcohol, a medical journal, and stock in newspaper.
Yep. Okay, so
That's
moving
rude.
along.
I wanted to make sure I had a relationship with everybody through my money.
So, Dr. Hauser, wasn't it?
Yes.
I appreciate the gesture, but alas, this is not something that I can not just partake in, but condone.
I totally understand. I'm so sorry.
What?
Here, let me give it to...
What?
Kevin, would you take this back to the car?
I mean, sure.
Please don't drink any.
What can I do for you?
I wondered if a colleague of mine had approached you. And if not him, then I wondered if you could help me out in another way. But his name was Robert Shawn.
Sean.
He would have been looking for some very interesting translations.
Well, I remember talking to a Robert, but I never got a last name.
Okay, I understand.
Um,
It would have been some very ancient, perhaps Sumerian, some sort of Mideastern language. Maybe even some hieroglyphics.
okay. Now that's starting to ring a bell. It's Assyrian.
Assyrian, I see.
It was some Assyrian text that he asked me to translate for him. Unfortunately, it was of a slight variation of dialect that I'm not as very familiar with. And I had to point him more towards the some certain reference material at the library itself, the St. Louis College Library.
I see. Would you mind taking a look? He and I are in kind of a bit of a race, as it were. He's a private investigator, and I'm a doctor of the mind, and we're just kind of competing to see.
All right, what's
who
the
can
lying
get to
skill
the
here?
end. I think persuade.
There we go.
Doctor of the mind.
We're in a race.
Yeah, to see who can decipher this thing faster.
Yeah, but here's a journal in his handwriting.
No,
you know?
I'm not handing him the journal, and I'm a little bit stuck. I was hoping you could help me out. Baby, that's a 13.
I'd like your dice. Here, why don't you take these? No, I'm joking. He's like, no. Aren't those the ones I got you?
No.
Oh, those are your other ones.
No, these are my
Okay.
stone
No, these are the
colored
ones-
plastic
yeah.
dice.
I was gonna say I was gonna repossess those suckers.
It's like they were rolling
Listen,
bad. That's
they're
why
only,
I gave them to you.
They're working because they're rolling low. Mike, in other games, it doesn't happen that way.
Right. So he takes a look at some of this.
Yeah, so I basically have one sheet, and I had the archaeologist write basically like 4 sentences that have most of the common letters and words in them.
So he's able to make out some of the information that's on there, and he looks back and says, again, this is very reminiscent of this dialect, but as I told Robert, and I believe you said his name was Sean, so Mr. Sean, that he I can't give you all the information that's about this, but it's talking about, it appears, different types of herbs and fire and just something that doesn't make sense about this word right here often is referred to as a summon.
I see.
But again, in context, all of this doesn't make any sense. So you could, if you'd like, I could point you towards the reference material that I pointed him to.
Do you have an in with the history professor here? Do you think he or she might know? Probably he, in the 30s.
Well, there's a gentleman that I work with. He won't be here until, he won't be back at the university until tomorrow. But Dr. Drakkar. He is a archaeologist, but and I know that he's recently been out on a few digs, which is the reason why I kind of was able to pick up a few of these symbols here recently. But again, it's of a dialect and that a subdialect that I don't know regionally. You have to understand, this ancient Sumerian hasn't been spoken in centuries.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your help, and I work here in town, again, Doctor of the Mind, Dr. Hauser. If there's anything I can ever do for you, one of your students, or put in a good word in any way, please let me know.
Now, I will tell you that he did mention that he was also going to go take a look at something that was going on in the local cemetery as well. There's an older crypt that does have a few of these symbols that, not any of these right here, but it's of the same language.
This is the Dr. Drakkar that said he was going to, or Robert?
Robert, before he left.
Oh.
He did have a few other leads, and I don't know if he'd already spoken with Dr. Drakkar, but I couldn't understand why he would come to me as, even though I'm an archaeologist, I'm more of a linguist.
I see.
And this Dr. Drakkar, he's due back tomorrow? Because he's been on a dig?
He's got a class tomorrow.
I see. Okay.
It's
What's
9 a.m. sharp, and I know that because he's right next to my office.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And he's a kind of a loud, bombastic fellow.
Yeah, I guess you probably hear him teaching most of the time.
I wish I didn't.
Understood.
Is there anything else I can help you gentlemen with?
No, please do enjoy your night. Thank you so much for talking with us.
And he extends his hand, shake everyone's hand.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. And is it okay if we have any more questions? We come back another time. We'll try not to hit you. Would you prefer we come to you during hours or after hours? Or
Oh, please.
Try not to hit you.
Please feel free to stop by my office. If by any means, if you happen to come up with better translation of this text, as an academic, I'd love to have it.
No, yeah. Well, sure. We'll keep you in the loop. You know what I'm saying?
I don't trust this guy.
And at that, he kind of says,
I don't say that.
at that, he kind of nods and goes,
Have a good
many
evening.
blessings and peace upon you. And he shuts the door.
Is there a way to kind of reflect back on that conversation to determine if I think he was being entirely truthful?
I'm trying to recall all the skills here. Is this?
I
Let
don't
me see your
Yeah,
sheet.
I mean,
Yeah,
like
I don't
There's
see
not
anything,
a true
no.
insight.
No, I
No.
don't see one.
like a spot hidden, or even listen, maybe like listen for like a lie kind of thing.
Appraise. That's what I
Appraise, yeah, appraise is though, you know,
I know
the
what
value.
Yeah,
If we were doing the
usually-
prices right, now
Well,
that would be the.
But you could
Usually, it would be something like a perception or something like that.
Do an idea check.
Idea. What's
It'd be an intellect idea.
Okay. 44 under 80.
Okay. So you get the feeling like he knew a little bit more about the text, but it wasn't enough in context because of the way that it was written down in jumbled pieces.
Okay.
So not like he's deliberately like he's hiding something. He just didn't.
He
have as
can't
much.
fully translate, but it seemed like he may have been able to translate.
Okay, because at this point now, my character does not believe in this occult garbage. I think because they told me about the statue or whatever, probably on the drive over here.
Yeah.
I think someone's looking for the statue, and this writing in this notebook is very like chanty, and I think this is occult for sure in some way, but I don't think any of it's like real, has any realism to it. But I do think that whoever is doing these things believes that it does.
Okay, so we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
This is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
It's
this
kind
is
of
like
a-
some kind of ritual. You know, he's talking about these herbs and things.
And yes,
Okay, that's someone's summoning stuff. Okay.
yes, I do think again this is all absolutely insane. But I do think that the people responsible for these disappearances probably believe they are achieving something through this.
You know, the
Yeah.
power of belief. You know, I mean,
We could check
Exactly.
out
I've seen
we
some
could check
weird
out your
things.
books when we get back. Your
Yes,
books.
I think
and then
perusing my library and did he give us the list of
Yes,
resources?
yes, he
Yeah.
did.
Okay.
And then
So-
tomorrow when we set out, we can go and check out the college library.
Yes, well, I already see
The
on this list.
university
I've got
library.
a few of these tomes in my own library, so we'll be able to check some
So-
of them out, but not all.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say anything, but remember that newspaper article about that archaeologist that disappeared?
Yes.
I'm thinking that might be his friend.
What was that archaeologist's name?
He
Did it
was
have
a
list?
no. It was just at the University of St. Louis. He was an archaeologist. It didn't give his name.
All he recognized was just a university shirt, and it said "Archaeologist gone missing."
Okay.
So I'm thinking that might be him, and I'm thinking maybe we might do a little investigating into his place
And where did he go missing at?
an Indian dig, a burial ground of some kind here in the
Upstate.
nearby.
Go with the guy that got all the notes.
Yeah, like upstate. Like where was it in?
It was in the
US?
local area. Yeah, it was in the area. One of the local Indian tribes.
All right. Well, I managed to get the addresses of 30 versions of Paul Dillon.
30 versions of Paul Dillon?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Are there any Bob Dylans?
I think I've been able to narrow it down to about 3 or 4. I don't know. Bob Dylan, no.
Yeah.
That sounds like a really strange name.
It is, but I think you'd be a good linguist one day. you know?
Perhaps. I've narrowed it down to probably 3 or 4 that would have the resources to pull off something like a hit.
Bob Dylan would probably pull off a hit.
He probably could, yeah.
And the puns are flying.
Open the door. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think anybody not living in these particular areas, and I point at those addresses on the list. I think these 4 are probably the most likely to be able to have the financial resources to hire out for something like that.
Especially
so I think
$1,000. He paid the guy $1,000. So this guy's got some.
paid who $1,000?
He paid Robert.
Oh no! You're thinking of the wrong individual, sir. Paul Dillon
yeah,
was
you're
the
right.
person he was
Dupree.
tailing.
Dupree, Charles Dupree.
Dupree
Yes. Now,
hired him. So maybe we should talk to this Dupree guy.
Well,
do we know how to get to him?
no, we need to look
Yes.
it up. Like,
Yeah, we have
Oh,
his
we
address.
got the address.
We do.
Oh, we
Yeah.
gave you the
That's right.
address.
Now it's getting late. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm thinking back in this, I'm thinking back in the 30s, going to people late at night was,
Yeah.
people went home after dark, and that was
You're
it.
right. Which is why I think we should probably check in on him, just to make sure things are safe. We are private detectives,
but we're not lawmen.
but we've been hired by the lawman.
We're kind of deputized, don't you think?
I do.
Police chief deputized us. I mean, I feel kind of privileged.
Those
I've
weren't
never
the words
been
out of his mouth.
in a way, we all heard it.
Tony, I know you have a way of looking at the law.
Well,
I've never been deputized before, okay? I'm kind of enjoying it. And badges? We don't need no stinking badges.
But I don't believe, especially by the time we get out to.
Do I get experience for making you cough up your drink?
I didn't fully spit it out, so no.
Okay.
I believe it is getting kind of late to just go check up on them.
tell you what. How far away are we from Charles's place?
It's St. Louis, which isn't that big at this time, So.
Probably about 20 minutes.
And he lives downtown. 20-minute walk or 20-minute drive?
It'd be probably about a 20-minute drive.
Okay. Kevin, if you would like to go and rest and begin looking at books, I will drop you off at my house on the way.
That's fine.
But I really do think we should check up on Charles. If somebody has murdered the person Charles hired, he may be a target as well.
Yeah, perhaps having a heat.
I'm not doubting that. Just.
Also, I am very curious.
You ever hear the term cat? Curiosity killed the cat.
No.
No, I never heard that term either. But it may catch on,
Alrighty, so the camera kind of wipes back out of this little scene, and are we dropping you back off
Yes,
over at the
I'll
house?
actually be researching.
He's gonna go
through the books.
start hitting the books.
And where are you going?
We are gonna go spy on Charles Dupree.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So who would like the first part of the scene? Would it be the investigation on the books, or would it be Mr.
Oh, I'm
Dupree's
so
home?
excited to lose my sanity.
I'm ready for it.
I guess I can go.
All right. So as you get back and you start digging through, let's do another library check. Obviously, you already have a couple of those tomes that are set to the side.
So this is this one I'm going to, I guess, I want to first coordinate with like the symbols and some kind of ritual depicting 4 statues specifically, from what we gathered from Duval's, the information we gathered from Duval's. Yes.
Yes, what?
Success. Just flat base.
Well, you're getting a lot of the symbols, but a couple of them are just a slight bit different than what maybe is sitting in the tomes at this point. Again, you're probably contributing this to some of that regional dialect and sub-dialect that's out there. But what you're able to translate as part of this is it's a small list of specific type of incense, specific type of ingredients and herbs. There's and it's almost like it's written down in step by step. And then some of the symbols you recognize are not real symbols. They're pictures. It's almost like an architect's rendition of a room.
Okay.
But the rooms are shaped in odd shapes. Now, each one of these rooms has a kind of an odd symbol that you're not able to locate. And it's located in the center of each one of these drawings.
Okay.
As you're parsing through the book. With the symbols, though, you are able to read that there's kind of a parentheses kind of text that's sitting right next to it. And it starts describing different types of objects, little statuettes of different creatures. So, obviously, there's a few that are, there's one that's about an eagle. There's one that's about an oxen. There's one, a buffalo. There's one that's referring to a fox, but some of these others you're not able to quite make out. But it does appear that each one of these rooms is specific to a symbol that is some type of animal.
Well, now I'm curious because you mentioned buffalo in ancient. What was it?
American Indian.
No,
Assyrian text.
Assyrian text. So I'm now going to have to dive.
Well, I will give you an insight here. The text is written in Sumerian, ancient Sumerian.
Uh-huh.
But you couldn't, Assyrian. But you couldn't identify what those symbols are. You're translating some letters that are sitting right next to those symbols.
Okay. There's a linkage, is what I was getting at.
Correct.
So that's why I'm going to focus more into that specific linkage.
Okay.
Of.
So here's what I'm going to ask you for. I'm going to ask you for a Cthulhu Mythos roll here.
Oh, no.
And this is almost, I hate to say this, at this stage of the game, this is almost an impossible check.
I have 0%.
Yeah, I have 0% too.
Here we go, baby.
It
I
better
gotta
be
nail it.
It better be a double. It better be a 0.
It's not.
Okay. Would you like to push it?
So what? Does my head pop if I? No, I'm not. I can't really. It's like, okay, I don't have enough information to tie these together yet. So I guess with that, if I'm also starting to translate it, I'm gonna start trying to fully translate the journal as much as possible.
Okay. So you'll go ahead and spend your time translating the journal. Now, with this and with the text that you're having to do this, again, I am going to ask you to make a sanity check.
Well, my head didn't explode, so I succeeded by 10.
And since you already had taken some sanity loss the last time you were digging through these tomes, we're not going to do it again.
Good.
You kind of were prepared for some of the oddball things that you would see now flipping through these pages. Yeah. All right. And the camera's going to fade out from where you're doing your research and as the night's starting to creep on a little bit further. And it's going to come back in on the two of you. And you turn on to Mr. Dupree's street. It's dark. There's a few... This is an older neighborhood, so although it's probably a little bit more of a ritzy part of the town, they haven't quite run all the electricity through the area. So although the houses are wired, the city hasn't come back and expanded, so the street lights, there's only one or two, and they're still oil lamps at this point. So they're not casting off a whole lot of light. But up and down the street, you see some old architecture, what looks like what we would call like long apartment style condos, but in this era they're individual homes. And you turn onto the street. What would you guys like to do here? I'm not gonna play it for you.
I'm thinking I should maybe take a little walk. I don't think we should go knock on his door just yet. Maybe I should go take a little walk and listen.
So we're on his street. I think if we just park here, is there like an alley behind the houses, like in between the fences, or are the fences like?
There would be. These are, like I said, these are the condo style, and of the time, you're not really going to have fences and yards in the back. It's more just buildings.
Okay.
So yes, there is an alley in the back.
Tony, I think your particular skill set would be more useful wandering through the alleyway.
I think I agree.
I'll take the sidewalk.
Okay.
All right.
And so I'm going to wander on the sidewalk, walking up and down the street, and he's going to walk behind, and we'll both, I guess, try to spot hidden.
Yep. Let's roll some
I'm not
spot
stealthing. He's probably
I'm
stealthing.
and I successfully stealthed.
Okay.
And I'm going to try to spot hidden. and I exceptionally spotted hidden.
Y'all are killing me. Come on, where's the Star Wars fails?
I did spot hidden, and
So you see the me go behind the trash can.
yeah, I successfully spot hidden.
Okay.
49 over 66.
So, Doug, you see a couple of houses down as you're starting to walk. There's a figure, a gentleman in a dark suit, that's sitting down at the very edge of the row of buildings. And he's very closely paying attention to you walking down the street.
Okay.
Your exceptional spot hidden that took place, and the fact that you're stealthed, Tony, what ends up happening is he has no idea. You spot him as well as you're kind of working your way down the building line and trying to get back into the alley, and you can see down around the corner. And he's apparently paying attention down the road.
To him or somewhere.
What would appear from where Doug is walking. Now, he's not moving. He's just kind of standing there.
So I'm going to approach and ask if he has a match. I'm going to pull out a carton of cigarettes.
How close are you getting?
I mean, I'm walking up to him and I pull out my cigarettes from just my pants pocket, and just show him as if to say I need a light.
Okay. And what are you doing at this time?
I thought you were going to pull out another
me?
20-year-old bottle.
If I see him walking up to now he saw the man that ran away before. Right?
Yes.
He's the only one that saw him.
Pretty much the back of his head, yes.
The back of his head. Okay, so I'm putting my hand into my jacket pocket, and I've got my trusty little 45, and I'm going to move to a position where I can cover. When I see him walking up to him, I'm thinking to myself, no one, this guy would not last on the streets 5 minutes. What's wrong with him? And that's what I'm thinking in my head. And so I'm going to move to an advantageous position to intercede if I need to.
All right. So, Doug, as you walk up, the gentleman turns a little bit more and faces you a little bit more squared off.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks at you and says, "Can I help you, sir?"
Oh, yes. Sorry, I'm just here trying to visit my pup, and he doesn't like me smoking inside, and I don't have any matches.
And who's your father?
His name is Richard Cars.
Roll, roll me a persuade. I'm not going to make you suffer on that one.
I'm going to spend 3 luck
All right.
to pass.
So because you're spending luck points, do not check off the skill as if you were successful on it.
It's okay. Persuasion's already been checked, bud.
All right. Now, he looks at you and goes, "Richard Cars. Not really familiar with that name, but I am kind of new here. So, which house is it?"
Oh,
How much more luck you got?
80.
You're putting yourself in this situation,
No,
Percy.
I know. Well, he doesn't live here, per se.
Really?
Yes, you guys ready for this?
This is gonna get good.
Hit us.
They're leaning back in their chairs for.
I was
I'm bracing.
I was visiting him in the cemetery, and I'll wander off this way once I was finished.
That's a pretty long wander that you got there, considering that the St. Louis cemetery is about 3 miles from here.
And now you see why I ran out of matches.
But didn't you just get out of the car? Down the street?
That car?
Yes, the rolls.
I said I wandered. I didn't say I wandered on foot.
All right. I don't know what you're selling, but as security around here, I'm going to have to ask you to move on.
Security? It's so strange that a place like this would have private security.
You drive a Rolls and you don't have security in your neighborhood?
Yes, that's why I think it's strange that a place like this would have private security. This is not really the highest of ends.
You're not from around here, are you?
Actually, I went to university here and been here for quite a bit of time, yes.
We're out here on the northwest side of St. Louis. This is where all the rich guys hang out. That's why I'm getting a paycheck.
Funny enough, I'm a rich guy and I don't hang out here.
Well, then you must be one of those ones that lives near the downtown area.
That is where the action happens. Say, would you know anything about, have you ever been near Bremen's?
Yeah, I drink there every once in a while. But, still gonna have to ask you to move along.
Well, I just need a light, but, that's...
Sorry,
fine.
I don't smoke.
I see.
And at this point, he's getting a little bit more abrasive with you.
Yeah, that's fine. So at this point, I think I'm just kind of trying to distract him.
Now, Rick, you see from your end a gentleman turn and kind of square up with Dr. Hauser.
Okay. This is what I'm witnessing this conversation.
And right. And you see a little bit more animated hand movements taking place, like he's pointing in one direction, then he's pointing another direction. Then he starts to fold his hands and you could tell visually he's getting a little bit more agitated.
But not in a necessarily threatening way yet, like he's going to hurt him.
You can roll an idea check and see how that works.
Oh, yeah. My ideas,
that's kind of an interpretation.
My ideas are really good. And actually, I was successful.
So you don't see any aggressive motions per se, but you do kind of recognize that the gentleman's body language is a little bit different. It's a little bit more stern. Like, he knows this person doesn't belong here.
Okay. But my insight is not that he's been found out. More like he doesn't like that he's there.
Right.
Okay. Okay. If I don't feel that he's a threat to him, then I'm going to take advantage of the distraction.
Okay.
And I'm going to move on down towards the Dupree's.
All right.
Yeah.
House.
So as he does that, so I am going to continue trying to distract him. I want to get him to tell me about this area. Try to convince me to move here.
Try to convince
Like
you.
why? Like you think this is where all the rich people live? Why would I want to move here instead of downtown?
All right. We'll get back to that one in a moment.
Okay. Even if I don't need to make a check for that, I'm literally like we don't need to role play that. I'm just trying to distract him so he doesn't have to keep rolling stealth rolls.
Oh, I get that. But there are going to be some consequences of what's happening right now because he's already told you to move along.
Yeah, but I didn't have to roll after I lied to him about the graveyard.
Well, I understand.
And I
that.
won the other roll.
But my dice say...
My dice said...
So, Percy, at some point in time when the Jehovah's Witness is at your door, you kind of close the door to usher them along?
Sure. But this guy's standing outside.
It's kind of the same concept.
He can't get away.
Yeah, plus, he saw him get out of the rolls, so that might, realize he's not just a bumpkin, and he talks the talk and he walks the walk.
Could just be a driver. Never know. Anyway.
No, but
all right,
he's a doctor.
We're gonna come right back to Call of Cthulhu and
got you.
Rick, where are we doing? What are we doing?
I'm basically scouting the house.
Are you scouting it from the alleyway?
I'm knowing that guy is there. I'm going to be moving strategically along, see if I see any lights on, and not just the alleyway, but around the house. And since I did a little bit of cat burglaring in my day, I was a petty thief before I became a driver. I'm going to use those skills to, you know, see if there's any open windows. I'm not going to break in at this point, but I'm going to scout the place.
So the building itself, the row of buildings, they're all fairly similar in design. Each one is about 4 stories tall. Every couple of houses may have a balcony in the front, but most of them have some kind of elevated porch or balcony in the back. And what appears to be, you know, external entrances to some cellars from around the houses that are locked up. Now, the house itself is covered in brown ceramic tiles as far as for the roof. It has a couple of different chimneys, one in the front and one in the back. And as you can kind of guess at this point in time, that was the primary method for making sure that heat was there during the winter. So there may be a few smaller little chimney stacks that are sitting out there, but 2 what you would identify today as full brick chimneys coming up, one in the front and one in the back. There's a little bit of grass sitting in the front yard, almost just kind of like a walkway, and a few trees that are planted along the way. And the house itself, it's like there's blackout curtains. There's no light coming out of the house from the front. And as you circle around into the back, you start to see there's 1 or 2 windows that look like the flicker of a candles are going on. But the curtains are so close to the window that as you try and peek through, you can't see through. You just see what looks like slight rims of dancing light. So you can't tell whether that's more from the fireplace that's going on or more from candles that may be lit in the house.
Can I hear anything? I'm going to get up close to one of the windows and see if I can hear anything.
At this hour, you don't hear anything. There isn't a roll to be made here on this one. At this hour, you're not hearing anything.
I'm going to check some of the windows just to see if they're locked.
Okay, give me a luck roll.
I am not lucky.
You should push your luck.
I'd have to push it a lot.
No. You can re-roll with a higher consequence.
With a higher consequence.
Yep.
Oh,
I
no.
think we're all pretty aware of what the higher consequence would be in this scenario.
There's a dog.
No, that's what you would like it to be.
I think Doug should run really fast.
My dude, if he fails and this guy like starts charging, I'm literally gonna punch him in the face. Like as soon as he makes any sort of motion, I'm jacking his jaw.
You hope?
No, I put
Now,
skills in brawl.
if I roll, if I push it, I can still use luck to try to make the roll.
I will allow it this time. Typically, according to the way 7th edition is written out, a luck roll is a luck roll. You're really not supposed to push a luck roll.
Oh, that would make sense because you use luck to push
Right.
a luck roll. So I just get a worse consequence if I fail it a second time.
Oh, this would be despair worthy. I'm just telling you what the risk is.
Do it. Nothing bad has happened to us yet.
You just like. All right, what the heck? Nope, not good. I failed it again.
Should I just go ahead and roll this die?
So, we'll cut back to your scene. Hold on a second. Stop rolling dice for a second. So, Rick, you're busy sitting here trying to wiggle on the windows and trying to see what's unlocked and what's not. And you trip and fall directly into a holly bush that's sitting right there.
Oh no!
And let out a little bit of a,
Squeal?
not just a squeal, but I'm going to say it's knowing Rick's character is probably more of a curse.
Expletive.
I don't curse.
We won't do that for the podcast, but he's cursing. And with this, we're going to screen wipe back over here to Percy. So, Doug. So Dr. Hauser is still trying to engage in conversation with this gentleman as
right.
Tony is trying to wiggle his way back around the back of the building.
Yeah. So these like why do rich people like to live out here instead of downtown? Like, are these buildings historical?
Well, I'm just a security guard.
Sure.
But I'd have to say that because most of these guys out here are a little older, they don't want to hear all the noise that's going on downtown.
I see. So it's very quiet out here.
Yes, it is.
It was.
What kinds of things? What adds to life out here? What do they do for fun?
I don't live out here. I work out here, and I work at night. What kind of fun is there? I stand here, and I watch for people who walk up and down the street, eyeing houses, taking a look at what these guys might have, and people who just don't seem to fit in the area.
But I do fit in the area. See, I would like to buy one of these homes, potentially.
I'm not a real estate agent.
Sure. Do you know any of these people personally?
I deal with a couple of them here and there when they, step outside and want to make sure that everything's kosher.
I see.
You rich people, you get paranoid.
We sure do. Let me ask you this question. First off, what's your name? I don't think we actually introduced one another. My name's Doug.
Tim.
Tim, why are you so angry at me?
Because you keep wasting my time. I'm working here and you're going to get me fired.
Is there anybody else on this street?
And it's about that moment. That we hear some swearing.
It's so loud. It's the comic book. I look up from the book I'm reading.
It's about that moment where we hear some swearing coming from the back end of Mr. Dupree's house. And he stops and he goes, "What the heck's going on here?" And he turns and immediately bolts.
Okay, so as he turns, like I was ready once I heard the yell.
That's fine.
I'm going to attempt to clock him.
All right.
Oh my gosh, you're going to engage this guy?
Yeah.
All right, so I would like a brawl check and tell me how your success is.
How much brawl do you actually have?
I got a decent amount. Not enough. Yeah, it's bad.
Did you
succeed?
No.
Okay, he did succeed with a normal. So you kind of whiff as he turns and goes. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an opportunity here to roll a stealth check with advantage. Because if you pass the stealth check with advantage,
He doesn't know.
then his focus was already over here, and he doesn't know you just took a swing at him.
Nope.
You failed.
I did.
You should have just yelled or something, I could get out of there.
I think I'm about to yell.
So would you like to push the stealth check or no?
I don't think pushing it's going to help him.
Yeah, I would. I sure would.
Okay.
Oh, no.
I'm not going to tell you what your consequence is.
Nope.
Remember all that luck that we had when it was
Listen.
the stakes weren't quite as high as they are now?
Doug knows that whatever you're doing is probably less important than what he's doing, but he thinks it's more important.
So, although he's turned and you kind of whiff on the punch, he immediately kind of turns back around to face you. And at this point, he looks at you and says, kind of putting his hands in more of a defensive, like he's getting ready to fight, and says, "Sir, if you don't leave, I will call the cops."
Goodbye.
And as you turn, he starts bolting off the other direction back towards the noise.
Well, I'm running that way too because that's my car.
No, wrong way.
Oh.
Rick's around the corner.
Oh, I thought it was like we were walking down the street.
Rick had to go a little farther up. Past
Rick's
you.
over here, and I thought I walked to the end of the street
No.
to get to this guy.
Okay.
Not quite.
Okay, yeah, I go grab the car.
Okay. And after I let my yelp out, I'm going to realize that I need to get the heck out of Dodge, and I'm going to run the other direction away from
Further?
further away,
All
and
right.
try to find a building to get behind.
So I think here we're looking at a strength check, or is there an athletics? I believe.
Dexterity, maybe.
Is there athletics skill?
There is
No.
not.
So
All right.
dexterity.
So let's make a dexterity check.
All right. I was successful.
So you're successfully pulling yourself out of the holly bush and starting to try and take off down the road. And just as you stand up and start to run, you see him come around the corner behind you.
Okay.
And he lets out a, "You there, what are you doing?"
And all of my reflexes are basically... Well, he got there fast, too, because how many houses were we?
Just a couple down.
Yeah, and how far away from the car was I?
You were about 3/4 of a block, so somewhere in the neighborhood, maybe about 100 yards.
Okay, so I'm probably not to the car yet.
Not quite. Not
But
unless
I
you're
run
a
a
full
really-
bore sprint.
I
but-
run a really fast 40, though.
Yeah, no,
I'm sure you do.
he does actually, because his philosophy was he only has to run faster than you.
That's right.
I remember that during character creation.
No, I think I still end up with a move rate of 7.
It's only faster than me.
It's faster than Kevin.
That's why I didn't go.
All right.
All right.
So, Rick, what would you like to do here?
I'm going to take off running.
You're going to take off running. All right. So we are going to do an opposed skill check, and I want to do against your dexterity.
Can I do a driving roll?
24.
What did you roll?
43.
All right. And what kind of success is that for you?
Well, that's successful.
It's successful. Okay. Well, he did get a hard success, so he is gaining on you.
Okay. What's his movement rate?
What's your movement
8.
rate? Okay. You're still fighting off the thorns of the holly bush and kind of a little, sore from the little pricks. Anyway, but he's slowly at this point gaining on you. Where are you running towards?
I'm going to basically just try to move in and out of the houses as I can and get, I don't know what the area. So, I mean, if there was a woods nearby or something like that, I'd be heading for that.
It's just street, a bunch of different houses, a bunch of different apartments, things along those lines. Now, it is rather dark. So, who knows? Maybe roll me an idea check there.
30, so successful.
Okay. You kind of got this feeling that if you get maybe a block or two away, you're kind of outside of where he would be watching, and he might just kind of back off.
Like he ran me off. I'm a petty
Right.
thief. And plus he's probably worried about him still, possibly.
So what would you like to do?
I'm gonna keep running. I mean,
right.
I'm gonna try to get as far away. I'm gonna be ducking.
Give me another opposed check.
55.
And he critically fails. So he stumbles.
By now, am I in the car?
At this point, you're just getting to the car, yes.
Okay, so I hop in, turn it on, take off, and begin honking the horn to wake up everybody.
Roll me a obnoxious
Okay.
roll, and no.
I rolled a stealth too. I'm gonna get to run as far as I can, and I'm gonna find a spot.
Well,
to
narratively speaking, we're going to go ahead and kind of wrap that up. That you get that because
critically
of
failed.
he critically failed and fell, and you were at full sprint.
Okay.
That you've made it at least a block or so away from him. But you do hear this obnoxious car horn that's blaring down the street. And there are a couple of lights that click on up
Yeah.
and down the street. And a couple of folks that you see open the window and you kind of hear muttered there, even though you're honking the horn in between honks. What the hell are you doing?
That's what I wanted. Make a big scene.
And at that point, the camera's going to kind of fade back out. So, What would you be doing at this point in time? Because you've just successfully run around the corner and down a street or two, and you've got a schmo over here blowing a horn in a car. It hasn't driven anywhere.
No, I did. I took off.
Okay.
Honking the horn as I drove.
Okay. Since we don't have cell phones, and we didn't set up a spot to meet, my instincts are to find a spot, hide for a little bit till I'm sure that he's not searching for me, and then stealthily make my way back, and I'm going to just make my way back to his house.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just go back to the house.
All right. So the scene is going to wrap up at that point, and we're going to go ahead and wrap up and call it a session. I think we're at a really good breaking point between different potential opportunities. We have an investigator that has decrypted some more of the book. We have a couple of other investigators who have now riled up the neighborhood.
Trouble for no reason. Didn't
Now
find anything.
they'll hire
wrong.
more security.
We just made things worse.
Well, that's what we do here.
Like I can't go back there anymore because I swung at the
You
security
can't even
guard.
get a house there now. They'll
know.
never let you in that neighborhood.
I bet they would. Houses generally cost about $4,000.
My question: do
right
I think
now.
he got a look at me, like facially or anything like that? Because I mean, I would have taken off running.
Oh, I
It's
don't think
dark.
he did.
No, at that point in time, it would have been dark. I'll give you kind of the rundown. This would have been the scene playing out where he comes around the corner and he's kind of loosely, running, trying to see if he can pick you out. You're kind of hobbling, trying to run back the other direction so he can see you body-wise. But he's still several houses back at the point. And then as you guys kind of start running a little bit further and a little bit harder, he's running in the dark and he trips. And that's where the scene kind of fades out as you break down the going back to your old skills and run away.
Absolutely.
All right. So again, that's where we're going to wrap it up for this evening, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and just keep on adventuring.
Don't forget to check out our Patreon too. Even if you don't wind up donating, just go look and see the kind of things we have available there. I think that you'll maybe be enticed to make one of those clicks.
But you know what? Just for the cost of a single soda once a month, you get an opportunity to win something, and you also get an opportunity to help out a mental health and awareness.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
And that's just the cost of a soda. Keep in mind, the rest of that is just going to support the content that apparently you already enjoy.
yeah.
And
You're
if you
here.
haven't subscribed on YouTube at this point, or subscribed to follow some of our podcasts and downloads, we are 70 plus hours in on our games.
Yeah, we have a lot going on.
We have more content than a lot of people that have been on the channels for years at this point.
Yeah, man, and we're coming up on the second half of our Star Wars campaign. It's been really fun, and this second half has been better than the first, I think, so far. Way better. It's been really cool.
Yeah, we're getting our stride.
Yeah,
Just hitting our stride, right?
Yeah.
No.
it's
70
it's-
hours of recording in, we're just hitting our stride.
Yeah, I mean it's rolled out very like our games tend to like start a little shaky as we find our character's footing, but then once we have that, it slips into a really cinematic theming almost always.
Right.
And even especially with this Call of Cthulhu, I think it's been going really really well so far.
And just speaking of the Call of Cthulhu, for those of you that are diehard Call of Cthulhu fans, I'm not having my players do as many skill checks. I'm not having my players run through certain elements of the game, and that's because we're looking at more of a narrative space. We want to be able to tell more of the story than we want to sit here and roll dice.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be a common theme amongst most of our games, if I'm not mistaken, is we like the narrative dice systems.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we really really do, and we like making narratives out of non-narrative dice systems like D&D and things like that.
So stick with us, enjoy the content. We're glad you're here, and keep on adventuring.
Bye.
Good night.